Tell me if I got it all right. Are we ready? That's the one. That's the one Wade gave.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, this is the June 1st Parks and Rec meeting. And well, we do call to order. And Mr. Sharretts, item 2, can you do the roll call for us, please?
Absolutely. Wade Pollock,
Here?
Peter Lake,
Here.
Caitlin Foy.
Here.
William Postic,
Here.
and Desiree Tomasco is absent this evening.
Item 4.1, consider approving the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
The motion was made by member Pottsick and seconded by member Lake. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is approved and moves forward. Item 5, public comment for agenda items only. I'm sorry, wait a minute, I forgot, moment of silence. So can we keep the Reynolds family for their daughter who passed away suddenly in our thoughts tonight? We'll have a moment of silence. And we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
How old was that daughter?
I think she was 2.
But did she drown in a pool?
That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
What's occurred. Yeah, it's got to be horrible. Couldn't imagine. Item 5, public comment for agenda items only. Someone from the public. Were there any write-ins, George? Okay. Item 6.1, consider approving the minutes from May 4th, 2023 meeting, for Parks and Recreation. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve or second?
The motion was made by member Foy and seconded by member Pottsick. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion was approved unanimously and moves forward. Reports, item 7.1, staff update. Can you provide us with the update, George?
Sure, just a few quick things. Staff do continue to visit all the parks and the trails 3 times a week, cleaning and inspection. We do the Paper Mill House property, the Bartram Bridge property, the Meadow Preserve, once a week, generally, unless there's a need for more than that. The bocce ball courts, they have been extremely well used so far. Besides the times that there are leagues there, and again, there's the league from Dunwoody there, there's the league from Marple Newtown Recreation. I have seen them used actually several times individually, not only on weekends, but in evenings. There was a company picnic at the pavilion. I want to say it was Friday a week ago, maybe Thursday a week ago, and everybody from the company there was playing bocce ball. And, I mean, it was packed, it was full, and they were utilizing it because I heard clanging too, and I said, "Oh," I watched. They're looking and they're playing horseshoos back there.
Nice.
So it's being very well used.
Good.
The unfortunate thing is we do have to do some repairs already. It appears that somebody let their kids ride their bikes and go ride right over the bocce ball court, probably going up the ramp and jumping onto it, which did have the effect of creating a ripple in the fabric because they landed and pulled it. So we're working on getting a carpet person out there. We're going to disassemble one side of the frame, restretch it, fix the gravel underneath and pop it back down. That's why if any of you now have seen that there's just a chain that you can very easily take off, but over the entrances, the 4 entrances to it, and there's temporary signage we've put up. We'll put permanent signage up. just letting people know, this is for bocce ball. This is for, horseshoes. It's not a dog park. It's not somewhere to ride your bike or your scooter or anything like that. We hated having to do that, but it became necessary after not too long. But that's not to take away from the fact that people are playing bocce ball there, and it's great. It really is. The other thing I'll mention is that I checked with the company, and it looks like sometime this month, the playground equipment for Brookside Park is going to be delivered and installed. So yeah, fortunately, those things that you had wanted there are going to be there.
Oh, cool, good.
And that's the end of my report.
Item 8.1, discussion regarding September 9th Dukes of Destiny concert. So we're on board with the Dukes for the 9th. We're gonna have to get funding. I still haven't heard back on an exact number. I assume, do we have enough money to pay the sound man left in?
Give me those numbers.
Okay.
I'm sure that we do.
It's normally about 500.
We should be good for that.
Okay. So I'm going to call John. I'll be in Avalon tonight. No, I'll just call him from my cell phone tomorrow sometime. The lead guy for the bands.
So that's coming from person.
Yes. That's going to be September 9th. I'm thinking it's 4 to 6 is when we normally do it. Is everybody okay with 4 to 6?
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask Desiree to help me with funding. I think she's probably fairly good at that. She's
Persuasive.
yes, she's a very persuasive person. So I have some people in mind. I was going to have her go solicit. So that's item 8.1. Item 8.2, discussion and possible action regarding about October pumpkin carving event at Paper Mill House. So we don't have to vote on this tonight, but the Historical Society reached out and they're going to have I can't remember what it's called, pumpkin and something event at the Paper Mill House. I think they have it yearly. There's an actress who comes in and reads Edgar Allan Poe, and then there's another happening there as well. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but then they do pumpkin carving, and they asked us if we would be willing to host that. They will actually fund it. So we would just need to be there and advertise the normal kind of stuff.
Is it gonna be real carving or pumpkin paint?
I think it's actual carving, and that's, I want to ask George if there's any insurance issues with that.
It sounds like there would be,
Yeah,
but we can find out if they've done it before, we can find out what their parameters are, how they do it.
Okay.
There may very well be, to your point, there may be a painting option as well as a carving option. Maybe there's professional folks that handle the carving, and maybe, you want to do it yourself, you paint. I would not want to carve myself.
Good question.
Don't want kids with knives.
Yeah.
Just for the minutes, who's gonna check for liability issues or?
Well, I'll check with the exact work is required of us. I just wanted to get a feel if everybody's okay with that.
That's great. I think that'll be a nice. I think that'll be a nice collaboration.
It can't hurt us
Sounds
to
great.
keep working with
Yeah.
these other groups.
Yeah, I think it's great, and you're having a presence at a what is a park property that normally we wouldn't do anything at. It's a historic property. Again, like we've said before, we're never going to have a playground set there. We're not going to do those kind of things there. But this is a very clever thing that you can be involved with. They can get some recreation going and have that history piece.
Yeah.
All right, I will reach out to Kathy Cavalier is the one.
Yes, I met her.
You're a very nice person. Very.
They've done the carving in years past.
Yes, apparently they have, yes. I think she's understaffed like everyone is these days, so they asked us to do that.
George, what would parking like be down there? Because I know there's that lower lot and it's not very big.
It's not all that big, but it does hold, it probably holds 20 cars.
Okay.
it does okay. And then you could park along Paper Mill Road if you needed to.
Yeah. I know the residents don't like.
They're not huge fans of it, but it's not something that would last too long.
Right.
Few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for the community.
Right.
All right, so I'll bring back the parameters and everything else at the next meeting. For that. Moving on to old business, item 9.1, discussion regarding budget request for 2024. So Desiree sent the concept of that merry-go-round, piece of equipment that we discussed last time, to George, and he's going to try and price that.
Yes, so I'm going to try to price not just the item, but the installation with it. And I would suspect that something like that would have a very special ground covering that needs to go underneath it, which would be part of it, so it's not just the equipment costs, it's the installation of that, because that's one I would want professionals to come in and install, and then find out what the ground covering is underneath it. It might be a synthetic material, and that's fine. Then we bring that price to you and see if that's something that you want to request in the budget.
You have to include the 2 basketball hoops and the posts. For
For Newbie Park,
newbie.
So we had discussed that when you were sick last time.
Right.
Just putting, that would be a whole new system, right, George? We would have to install.
it would be new posts and all that went in, and I actually got pricing on that previously, so I know what that is to put in.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you tell us the figures just roughly?
I don't remember what they are. I just.
Oh.
I got them from 3 companies. And I can't remember the range. If I'd realized, I would have brought it with me. But it was something that we weren't going to be able to do quickly, but I don't think it's something that would be a problem to put into the budget.
So I was unsure if we wanted the merry-go-round thing at Drexel Lodge, if there even is enough room there. I think, there's a piece of equipment you hang on and spin, and that's kind of over here, and then the rest of the playground's here. There might be a spot there for that. Another consideration would be Brookside Park. It's-
Hillside, yeah,
yeah.
that grassy area.
Yes, we have discussed before, so.
Yeah.
So when I reached out to the equipment company, and I'm waiting to hear back from them because this email just came in today. But when I reached out to the equipment company, I asked, what is the price of the equipment, the installation, the ground covering and all that? And I said, and just for the sake of argument, what would it be if we got 2 of them? If, for example, you wanted to find somewhere at Drexel, but I know in the back of your mind, you've been thinking of something at Brookside.
Right.
And just to see, okay, guess what? It's only this much for 2. Just so that we could present that to you.
Okay,
Great,
thank you.
Thank you.
And so I just asked the Trails and Greenway Committee about the signage for Drexel Lodge Park for the trail in the back. I know, trails are not our responsibility, but it's in the park, and I've run into so many people that don't even know the trail's there when I tell them it's there. That, it might not be a bad idea, and Desiree had brought it up previously as well, so. They were willing to do a joint budget request, current calendar year. I think that there's some initiative with township to do some uniform signage, so we might want to wait until next year to do that, or ask for it this year and then wait for the signage.
Yes, so I can share that last year, there started to be an effort to try to have a consistent signage in Newtown, so that any signage in a park and, even wayfinding street signage would be consistent, that you would be able to look at it and say, yeah, you're in Newtown. That design never got finalized or really went all that far, which is why the Trails group kind of ran into a snag with some of the signage they wanted along trails. But I think there's going to be a hard effort in the second half of the year here to get that concept of what that signage would look like that would be acceptable to Park and Rec, acceptable to Trails, acceptable to the other groups that would utilize it. And then we could start really popping out signage.
Okay. Is that something that we should consider putting a budget request in for this calendar year? Or?
I would put a budget request in for it because yes, we're stuck on the design right now, but it's good to put the money in so that when the design's finished, you've got it.
So I think that we're just gonna talk about budget requests tonight, and then next month we'll vote on if we wanna move forward with them.
Right,
That's all right.
yeah, that's good. What was, I think somebody said sometimes the July meeting doesn't happen, but we would
The
definitely,
August sometimes.
oh, okay, August, so we would definitely, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
We can figure it out by July.
I haven't heard anything about the August meeting not happening. Usually the supervisors are first to bail, and then everybody else starts bailing on.
Yeah, and you don't have to bail at all. It's just some committees choose to do that. You know, others meet as usual.
Does anyone else have any other? Oh, so one of the things I was thinking about is there's no what do you call it? The informational sign box that's at some of the parks. There's not one at Brookside, and there's not one at Newby. Is that something that we want to ask the Eagle Scouts to do instead? Or is that a budget request?
So if you would like the one that would be similar to like, is it Greer Park? You know, or there's some of them out, I think here, I know there's one at Goshen Trail, those kind of things. That would be a budget request, and I can get you what that pricing is. If it's something you'd like a Boy Scout to do, for the sake of, you know, involving a scout in something and maybe designing something a little different than you get in a catalog, then we would probably put a little bit of money in for materials. You know, the scout would normally raise the money themselves, but with a lot of scout projects, we have some money available in case they can't raise everything they need to. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Good idea.
Did you have did any scouts approach saying that they have a project they need to do, or?
There's recently been some communication with George, and I believe Desiree, with Eagle Scouts who wanted to get involved in stuff, so I didn't know whether this would fit that bill or not, but it might.
Sounds like it could. Could we reach out to them and see if this would interest them, and if not, then we'll put it in, then we'll have enough time to put it in as a budget request. I think it's a great idea because it would help us kind of mark, you know, advertise some of the events.
Yes, rather than putting the stick with the staples.
Yeah.
What's the status of water in Rexall Lodge Park? Wasn't there going to be a bottle refiller?
Yeah, there is, yeah, it's there.
It's there.
Yes, that is there. And actually it has a counter on it for how many bottles of water you've saved by utilizing it.
Oh, good. Does it have a drinking fountain also?
It does, yes.
Oh, that's terrific. Do we need those at other parks?
Yeah, I don't know that there's water sources in the other parks. I don't know that there's water running to anywhere in the other parks. Now, the Greer Park will have that when the master plan is implemented. The other parks, I don't think there's a water source currently that runs to them.
Part of the master plan for Greer Park, the final phase, if we ever would get to that, would include a bathroom. That's good. Let's hopefully have a water bottle filling station.
Yes.
I don't mean to be dismissive by saying there's no water at those places. Is that something that you would want me to investigate? Having water run somewhere?
Well, it's just that in parks, if they're used for athletic events, kids will drink water. If they're adults and whatever, and it's hot and whatever, they'll drink water. And so if we do have water close enough to be tapped into something like a water fountain or a bottle filler, that would be a really good thing to do in our parks. It's only number 2 to bathrooms. Obviously bathrooms would be better.
So it sounds like that's coming to Greer in
Yeah,
a few years.
Mhm.
next 5 years or whatever it's going to be, yes.
It's a thought, it's a thought.
Yeah, do they have anything here at Gable?
Yes.
Is there?
Well, there's a restroom
They have the
there.
bathrooms. I don't know. that
The
they-
rest, yeah, the restrooms are there. There's not a water cooler here, but there's a water cooler right here. You know, so as long as the building's open, there's a water cooler available. There's not an external water cooler over at Gable.
I don't know. I don't remember if there is or not. You don't think there is?
I don't think there is. I
don't
can
remember.
look,
On the side of your building?
yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing there.
I can look to see if there's somewhere that potentially something could be installed.
Well, if you need a little ammunition, for seniors, dehydration is a major problem during the summer.
Hmm.
In terms of arrhythmias and other health-related issues, not just heat. And so, in case you need a little, something to make it sound like. It's
Yeah,
related
there's so much
safety.
to athletic recreation between the basketball court. We'll have the mural on there soon,
Yeah,
the soccer
I
field,
think
field
there ought to be
hockey.
water here too.
I think that's a good, I mean, if you were gonna add a water bottle filling station anywhere, I think it makes the most sense to do it here.
Here, because I was actually going to ask, what would your priority be to look at? Here would be first.
Yeah,
Here.
well, tonight there were guys and girls. All girls, so look like they're from a basketball team playing on one of these
Yeah,
sides.
because a lot of the use here, especially through the summer when it's lighter out, is beyond 7 PM. That might be helpful. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's accessible after 7 PM. Would be.
Yeah. I can investigate that. Yeah,
Can't hurt to figure out the price and there's no harm in asking. Size of no is the same regardless of what you ask for.
so I'll start with Gable because that makes a lot of sense. What would the next park be that you would be interested in? If you're talking athletics, it would probably be Brookside.
Well, we've already got it in Lodge. Oh, by the way, I met somebody who actually attended a retreat and slept overnight in Drexel Lodge
About
Park.
way
but
back
they were
when.
Actually, Drexel Lodges.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. or what?
Yeah, my school, my first year here in '83, we met in the lodge. For our big teacher first gathering.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was very rustic.
I'll bet it was. Brookside. Because of the heat. We're going to be putting in the shade. And that would be a real. Associated issues,
Mhm.
so,
And they play soccer there as well.
yeah,
Yeah, softball, soccer.
Yeah.
Field hockey.
I will investigate it. I have no problem doing that. I'll try to find over there where the closest water source is. But yeah, we can investigate it and look and see if it makes sense to look to try to budget something.
okay, thanks.
I know I thought of something else, but I forgot to write it down. I was trying to make a list on my phone while, talking to it. It wouldn't do it. So. Does anyone else have any ideas? We want. We can bring them again next month as well.
I don't have it in front of me. This is for products that could be over 5,000. Was that the number?
Well, a budget request could either be, over 5,000. It depends on what it is, if it's maintenance or operating expense. And that's something different, I think.
I would look at the budget at this point as anything that you think the tax money should be spent on. So yes, there's going to be some capital things, and we've talked about some of them. there could be some maintenance things. There could be some things that are smaller that you would like to see that I may have to budget in the general budget. And that's fine. Well, if we know what it is you envision, we'll work on that.
What about Brookside, like the baseball field? Does that need a little
I was-
love and care?
I was thinking, just as you said
I
that,
just came from there and I feel like it.
is there room for pickleball over there? Like,
I don't know, because you have the baseball field and the soccer field, and that's pretty much the field.
yeah,
I don't think so unless you're gonna get rid of one of the existing fields.
Yeah, the soccer pretty much takes up that
That's
whole
the whole
field.
Yeah.
field.
And when they play there, they even go into the baseball. area.
There's a batting cage. Does
Yes.
anybody use that still or?
I used it when my son was young. I've seen other people use it, but it's very sporadic.
pretty overgrown too.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, it is a very rustic place. It's quasi intentional that it's that way. It's a place that you could go have a pickup game.
Mhm.
There have been some pushes to make it manicured, and the challenge is the interest in it being manicured. It has been directly tied with sports leagues who want to make use of it on a regular basis. Which we want it to look nice, but we don't want to take it away from people being able to just go and play.
right.
You can't go up the street and just play baseball
On their
because
field.
it's booked solid.
Mhm.
Even going back here to the turf field, it's very heavily used. You can't guarantee you could go play a pickup game there. Brookside, you could generally go if there's a few places that use it. We did get some pricing on doing some manicuring work and some restoration work out there, which I can present to you next time. We're just trying to find that balance with it being a nice community place that people could go to, but not one that would then become absconded by somebody on a permanent
That makes
basis.
sense.
Has
Yeah.
the tree, I'm sorry. You're gonna say-
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Has the Trails Group thought about dirt bike trail for kids to be able to run their bikes? You might have some thoughts about that.
Have to think on that.
It's really popular among young people.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'm thinking liability.
Yeah.
It is noisy.
But no, I'm not talking about motor. I'm talking about pedal bikes.
Like BMXs.
Which there are some kids still doing that.
Well, there are a lot.
Yeah.
There are adults doing it too.
Well, you go up the trails over at Drexel Lodge Park. And bikes tear up the trails.
They do.
They don't
Yeah.
want, over at Ridley Creek State Park, they forbid that you go on off trail, off the pavement. Yeah. You have to stay in the pavement. Otherwise, you just tear up the trail. I mean, that's what they do. They do the hard turns and pretty soon you got divots and it's no fun walking.
That's the whole idea.
So you're talking about something specific for that.
But yeah, and you can sort of build it and make it fun and kids use it. But it sounds like a bad idea that.
What about, we kept throwing pickleball around and I know we're still waiting to get information on the water management at the Goshen Ball Mill 252 property.
Mhm.
But like, would we need to put in for that? Is it too soon? Or to put money aside for that? I don't know what the timeline should be, if it's appropriate.
Let's put it in as a discussion item with Steve. I think that's appropriate. I would suspect something like that would fall under the development of the property.
Okay.
But I think that we should have it so that it's definitely on multiple lists that it's getting discussed.
Right, and I don't necessarily mean, I just mean we brought it up. Initially, we took it
Exactly.
to do, but I'm not saying that we're gonna put it there. No, there's been no further discussion or any
No.
information. I was just thinking of it. But yeah, maybe it could go in a Drexel Lodge Park. I think you brought that up at some point too. we'll add that for the next agenda.
And I will find out if there is a ballpark cost of installing a new one. No matter where it would go, you know, if they would say it is $100 to put in a pickleball court as a general rule, at least we can know that no matter where you would recommend that it potentially go.
That'd be good.
Yeah, there's a gentleman on Facebook who, Leonard posts a lot of stuff. Leonard Altieri posts a lot of stuff on Facebook, and every time he does, this gentleman says, "That's great, but when are you getting pickleball courts?"
Prioritize.
Well, we'll put it on the next, agenda.
Takes the size of, for two pickleball courts, it takes
A
about the
tennis.
size of
One
a
tennis.
tennis
One
court.
tennis court.
Yeah,
And you'd want to do two. Right? I mean, it would be silly to put one in.
I'll scan the parks and I'll have a better idea for next.
well, actually, there's one at Dunwoody. And it's, a group of about 15 people that play sort of
Hmm.
round robin
Yeah,
stuff on it. So one would be possibly used, but generally they're put in pairs.
yes. Yeah, same over at Lissitor property. They have one regular tennis court and then one tennis court that's sideways pickleball. And whenever I ride through there, there are people waiting.
Oh, that's
And you can hear it go pop, pop, just like the fellow up on Aspen doesn't really want to hear the popping.
Was there, I didn't mean to jump the gun. Was there any more budget request ideas?
No, we could still think of more and bring them to next month's meeting, and then we'll just say a yay or nay on them, I guess, and then start the forms and turn them in.
Yeah,
Because
and you've given me some things to look up and try to get some homework for you so that you can know, you know, because you might want to make a request for $100, not $1,000.
Was there any other items for next month other than?
Next month, I think we'll probably revisit the mural. And I guess we'll continue with the concert, the pumpkin thing, and the library mini series.
Yeah. Nice.
This month it's the end of June. 23rd, the 27th, I think they are. That's out in the public domain. The libraries put it out. Their Instagrams and all of that.
And just as an advertisement, free yoga in the park Wednesday evenings, 6 p.m., June 14th to July 19th.
Yes,
So that'll be starting up soon.
I put that on all the Facebook sites last night. It's Instagrammed out. Jackie McCormick did that for us. Signage out.
I guess we didn't recap the May
Family fun.
Family Fun Fest,
Oh, yeah.
but it was amazing and Wade, you did an amazing job. Getting the
Yeah, it was all.
petting zoo and, you know, but yeah, it was really great. And I hope that the train museum, I hope that they received many donations because that was a really great event.
Yeah, I hope so. It was a beautiful event. It really was. I mean, it showcased the park beautifully. The train museum had a lot of people at it. I don't know. We haven't had a meeting. So I don't know how they did at the end of the day, but I mean, there were so many people that went through there and the exposure was just fantastic,
Yeah.
And it was
really
different.
Great,
you know.
really great event.
So the band didn't draw as much attention, you know. I talked to my daughter and some other mothers, younger mothers, and they all said the same thing, but it's that time, so. So that they were the most expensive part of the event, so I think next year we'll probably not have a band.
Just wrap up early.
Yeah, and ask, what was her name from Timer Studio,
Dale, Haverdink from Charming Star,
yes, it was just fantastic,
Playroom.
yes.
who's
Uh,
great.
Ask her to do something a little more next time. Petting Zoo was such a big hit that we could expand that as well.
Yeah, that was a big hit.
Little
The
train-
train was
the
great.
little
too.
train
It was, yeah.
up.
I've been there.
So apparently the train count was over 800 kids or 800 riders.
Is
Wow,
that right?
Yeah, so-
that's amazing.
That's great. Well, there were a lot of adults too,
yeah,
Yeah,
which was very nice.
so we'll have, I think there's some lessons learned from it and can enhance it next year if we do that again. I think that's what we're gonna try and do it again.
yeah, absolutely. Great event.
We don't do a concert, maybe. We could do the disc golf.
But we were gonna do the disc golf and we'll put that on the agenda next time.
Yeah.
We're gonna do disc
Oh,
golf.
that's
because-
September 9th, right?
With the Dukes of Destiny, right?
September 9th.
Yeah.
I'll put it on for agenda.
I just wanted to make sure we got a feel of how much money we're gonna be able to collect. So that we can hire advance. So I guess we'll add it to next month. So. Public comment, there is no, we did that, items for next agenda, we did that, yes.
I have it.
Okay, we're adjourned. Listen, does anyone else have anything?
I think we're adjourning too early. No.
You wanna hang out?
We had already said we're adjourned.